Politics were happier.
Yeah. It's a different time.
When people were just getting blowjobs in the White House.
Yeah. Sad.
All right. So first question. who would like to ask?
Anybody?
Oh, we're all shy.
great.
We're all shy now. Best interview ever.
I know.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
How is the industry as a whole today?
Industry as a whole.
So
How do you-
anime, video games.
Yes, like the voice acting industry.
Like, how's it doing?
Yes.
Is it like it's well? It put its kids in college. It's doing good.
The therapy's been well.
Yeah, the divorce. Just moving on from that.
I think we're in a cool time. I think we're in a time where anime, video games are more accessible to a lot of people. It's not so much the niche thing that it used to be.
Yeah.
So you have people who are really there's people who only watch anime out there, and to them, they really follow the voice actors out there. So and with the internet being able to look us up afterwards is something cool. So we get noticed, which is nice. I think in previous generations it was a lot harder to find out who the heck was in it because you wouldn't be in the credits all the time. We still aren't, but they figure it out.
They figure it out eventually.
Yeah.
We've recently reached this new era where there's a celebrity to voice acting. Then like you said, like the voice actors are getting more prominent.
Yeah.
And more recognition, and
Yeah.
I think that kind of just stems from so many projects being more reliant on the voice acting and the storytelling with some of the more cinematic video games that have come out here lately, like
Right,
Last
yeah.
of Us, and all those games that are basically playable movies at this point.
Yeah, and what's interesting too on that point, in the mid to late 2000s, we saw a surgence in AAA game titles as being kind of the only games in the industry. We had a few imported games, but at that time it was very much this: either you are doing gangbusters or you're a failure and your company closes.
Yeah.
We're now seeing in recent years this re-emergence of the indie game developer. We're seeing the re-emergence of all these different avenues of game development, from high AAA scale to very small experimental scale. And it's been really exciting for us as well as performers, as there have been people now who have been wanting to involve us in some points of the creative process in games that are looking to tell good stories without relying on top end graphics and an incredible 100-person plus team through like Steam and a lot of the more indie game circuits. It's been really cool to watch that emerge, and we've been able to work in some of those circuits as well. So as a whole, the industry always has its interesting sticking points, but it's been growing at a healthy pace, and we're happy to be part of it.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's not 1993, 94 anymore, where Jurassic Park just came out and people are just wowed by the graphics and the CG. Like, people have kind of started to become a little bit more...
There needs to be the depth there.
There has to be a
tone.
depth, yeah. You
Yeah.
can't just impress people.
Don't get me wrong,
Topping
Jurassic
graphics
Park
anymore.
had some great depth though.
Oh, Jurassic
Yeah.
Park had incredible storytelling.
The first one.
To it. Yeah.
Oh, we all know the third one was the best. Raptor Fever Dreams.
And movie trailers don't have voices anymore, so that's terrible.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
us.
Other than that, that's all good.
That's true.
They don't need
That's
voices.
true.
They just show us the whole movie.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Generally put to some catchy pop song.
Yeah.
All the Guardians of the Galaxy style.
Yeah. Next question.
Does anyone else hear that sound like a bomb's about to detonate?
Yeah, I think it's a vacuum.
It's a vacuum.
Or it sounds like a really pissed off Dennis.
Yeah. Just making sure.
Keep an eye out.
Maybe a teapot. It's funny.
Question.
So how did you guys get into voice acting?
Succinctly, all of us fell into theater. We enjoyed community theater, local theater, musical theater for some of us, and the performing arts generally just was a very heavy passion of ours. For me specifically, my passion for musical theater was a bent into my love of video games and cartoons, and after years of toil and difficulty and hitting my head against the concrete wall of making a career out of this long enough, I eventually made a crack and snuck through.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no magical path. Every one of us had some weird thing that probably happened, that one thing led to another that got us here. As much as everyone wants to try and say that there's some magical formula, do this, get an agent, make a reel, make, profit. That doesn't happen. It's generally something that kind of you stumble into, you lead into with another thing. My same thing. Theater and improv met being a press press ganger in the video game world, and the two kind of ended up colliding over time. So
I didn't know that. That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I heard Matt's story too. We did that panel together. And I learned a lot that I didn't know about you. For me, I was just doing stuff at home, Voice 123, and just doing commercials and explainer videos. And
you had a YouTube channel for a while.
I had a YouTube channel. It was a massive failure. That was our trial, but just didn't. They didn't have browse anymore. You couldn't browse on YouTube. You had to have a link. So we couldn't crack that Reddit puzzle yet.
Yeah.
It was tough. So
when getting on the front page of Reddit was like a big deal.
Yeah.
You could like launch things.
Yeah, exactly. So I did Voice 123 for like 5 years, and I did 150 audiobooks, and I just did everything all by myself. Yes, I did.
I'm learning stuff about you now.
Yeah.
That's
awesome.
awards for that shit.
I
You've
got
won awards?
But that has nothing to do, totally separate from. But I thought there would be like, well, surely casting directors would know me. No, they in no way. So you have to each of these like skyscrapers of voice acting, the pillars you all have to ascend in your completely
Separately.
own way. Yeah, they're not connected at all.
Yeah, because I've never done an audiobook. Mainly
Good.
because I don't think I'd want to.
You don't want to. You don't want to do it alone. You want to do it where there's a director there, and unfortunately, it costs because people can just do it at home right now. They just don't pay for audiobook directors anymore. Yeah. So it's a dying breed, unfortunately.
Yeah.
And then eventually, and then I got into video games and anime in the last about 3 years or so, and now finally things are coming out. I'm able to talk about them, and it's nice, but you're never done. You're never done. There's no guarantee. Once you walk out the door in your last session, you're jobless again.
Yep.
So it's always every day trying to pave our way.
Yeah.
What character are you most proud of, each of you?
Man, I mean, I'm obviously Noctis from Final Fantasy. It was just such a three-dimensional character that you're with for 100 hours, and there's so much vulnerability with him. That's just an actor's dream, especially in a video game where you've got a lot of these hard-edged characters who don't show their inner self. I was really happy to be able to show someone who was so open like that.
I mean, it might be a bit trite, but doing Critical Role and Keyleth, exploring that character has been incredible, and and once again, kind of an actor creator's dream, because it's not very often that you get to portray a character that you created and built for that long in that in-depth.
From a performer standpoint, certain characters you get to explore nuances deeper than others. Not all genres are very nuanced in their approach of how they present a character, and you kind of have like a couple notes, and that's where you land. Kutsugemiya in Fate Zero had a lot of depth and interesting layers that we got to explore through the process. So I really enjoyed that. As far as being part of something, McCree and Overwatch, just being part of that phenomenon engine of that game is a huge blessing, and I'm excited to see where it goes. And I'll just keep being asked what time it is for the rest of my life.
You will not escape it.
Or are you guys fans of anime before you started doing anime?
Yes.
Absolutely, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think there's anyone who isn't who works in anime, right?
There's probably a handful.
A handful. With video games, you have a lot of people who don't know video games who work in video games. But I think in anime, everyone pretty much loves it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
I think that the people who might not be as familiar is like the old guard.
Right,
Just
like
kinda
Wendy
stumbled
Lee or,
into it
the
like through
the Michael
acting.
McConaughey's, those guys,
Yeah.
We're just like, no, I'm an actor first.
Yeah,
I'm
exactly.
an actor. Yeah.
They're all
And they still
Captain
pronounce the Japanese names wrong. You're like,
Yeah.
you guys have had decades to learn this.
No, that's about.
But they're a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Please.
definitely.
Or wait, you haven't asked me.
Oh, okay. It's related to what you guys are talking about with your characters. As a voice actor, do you prefer to have a blank slate, new introduced character? Or how do you feel about getting a character who's been voiced by another person and now you're cast as that voice?
That's a good
question.
question.
That's a very good
Never
question.
been asked that before.
Yeah, generally a blank slate is better, just so you're not beholden to what the previous voice actor did, whether the director wants that or not. It's hard to not feel that subconsciously. Plus, the audience can get so used and attached to a previous voice actor's interpretation that it can. And people hate change. Everyone hates change. So
even if sometimes for the better,
Even if it's for
or
the better.
comparably, positive. that change is difficult for people to swallow.
Yeah.
I've taken over quite a number of roles from different performers and characters that I love. Leon Kennedy from Resident Evil, stepping into those shoes was a huge responsibility, and I can only bring my own personal experience and respect for it and the previous performances in there. I've taken over a number of roles for Troy Baker, and I live with those comparisons throughout my entire career. And so, while I enjoy the honor of being able to take what somebody else has established and add my own flavor to it, it does come with its own tension and its own worry for these reasons that you guys mentioned before. So for me personally, I think being able to create something wholly from the beginning, to where you are establishing and building it from the void, is a little more fulfilling in the sense that you feel it belongs to you completely, as opposed to you and many other people. Although that has its own honor, but yeah, prefer that.
I prefer taking other people's jobs. It's just great.
Just that little bit of, hey, guess what?
Yeah, definitely. It's always uncomfortable. I will go on the record, this Dragon Ball Super thing, people giving me Piccolo things to sign, and I'm like, I'm not him. That is Chris Sabat. It's not me. So sometimes it can be really hard to. It leads to just awkward situations like that.
Yeah. I had the same thing because I took over for the voice actor for Margaret in Persona.
Yeah.
And we did like some re-recording on like some of the old stuff because they didn't like the direction she was in. She also like moved away and had a baby and then started a family. So she like went away, disappeared.
So Troy, he went and had he made a baby.
Yeah, he had a baby. Yeah.
He himself
Started
had a
a
baby.
family. No.
It's like Junior.
Just like Junior. It's what everyone wanted to see. Arnold Schwarzenegger having a baby.
I was more traumatized by Danny DeVito being involved in that.
Margaret. Yeah.
Margaret. Yeah. Took over for her. Sometimes they'll bring me things from like older games. I'm like, not me.
Oh, that is weird.
It is hard.
With the Sabbath thing, we're doing it at the same time. And it's just so
that is
weird.
weird,
It's
yeah.
really awkward. Yeah, I don't like it. Don't like it at all. Yeah, it's nuts. Are you on that? No, good.
Get to have dad conversation with Chris Rager, though.
With Chris Rager?
Yeah.
Who's that?
Oh, Satan. Mr. Hercule.
For Texas.
Yeah.
Yeah, gotcha. Yeah, who's Mr. Satan here? McConaughey is Mr. Satan over here. Yeah, but again, it's like we're not really these characters.
No. He embraces it though. I'm gonna give him credit.
A couple more minutes for Matt and I, and then we have a panel we gotta get to.
Oh yeah.
We have time for one more question, I think.
Time for one more question?
Is there anything you guys could say like the industry's missing as far as what they're providing for voice actors or opportunities?
Definitely. Yeah, especially in video games, it's so hard. I mean, it's part of why there's a strike right now. It's transparency. It's very hard for us to be able to do our job and be able to market ourselves if we don't know what we're actually
What we're recording on.
Yeah, and when we can do such a better job if we do know this stuff, if we have art that we can look at.
I'm sorry. I follow you halfway, but okay, you said there's a strike on right now. I'm not aware of this. An artist writer strike, or is there an
There's
actor
a
strike?
voiceover strike for video
voice
games.
actor strike
Okay.
against certain publishing companies in the video game side
And
of
you say,
things.
as far as seeing what you...
So when we generally get an audition, a lot of times it comes in under a code name. You know, Project Lazarus, Project something else, Project XYZ.
Confidentiality reasons.
Yeah.
They try and claim confidentiality reasons. A lot of it is because they don't want our agents to be able to negotiate in favor for us. If they send us through an audition for Project Lazarus, there's no way to know.
Is this something we've worked on before?
And then you walk in.
Is this the next Halo game? Is this
Yeah,
the
is
next
this Mass
franchise?
Effect? Is this, what is this? It happened to me on Star Wars Battlefront. It came in under a code name. I happened to be the first actor from our agency to go in to record on this game. I walked in through the door and I was a stormtrooper on Star Wars. I got a base pay for that because they didn't want me to know that this was Star Wars, because then if we would have known, we probably would have negotiated for a higher rate because Star Wars.
Yeah, right.
So that's part of it, and you know, and it comes with like the aforementioned problems that Ray said. We don't know our characters.
Once
we can
we're
do a
in
better
the booth,
job.
yeah. Because the audition, I can understand if it's a code, they don't want to give everything out because this
Sure,
is
when
to
it's going out
thousands of
to-
people.
yes.
But once you're in it and it's your character, not being able to know things like what they look like or what the game is, it really, it doesn't, it's not the best working environment for us. So yeah, that's something I think would
It's always
be,
been like that?
It's
gotten
better.
worse as the years gone on.
Yeah, what, really? It's gotten worse?
It's gotten worse in a lot. Well, from my experience at least.
Oh, okay.
And code
Interesting.
naming games and stuff. Yeah.
Yes, that's true. I guess you're right. I was thinking about like in the 90s or whatever.
Oh, yeah,
Back in
well,
the
no.
day.
Well,
yeah, it's certainly gotten better from then.
From that
Yes.
standpoint, yeah.
Yes.
Other things are concerned, and because a lot of video games, comparatively, have a lot of very vocally stressful work.
Oh, right, yeah.
Every game that you play in, and you have characters that you have to kill, defeat, destroy, bosses. We have hundreds upon hundreds of different ways that many of our characters have to die or feel pain or yell or shout to each other. And whether it be military games, role-playing games, we have sessions that are just yelling nonstop. I've had a number of franchises. One we just finished recording after a year of recording, where almost every session was probably 60 to 70% all shouted.
Wow.
Because that's just the nature of how the combat works in this game. And when you have 4 hours of constantly reading with maybe little 5-minute breaks and it's all at that volume, you can and largely will do damage to your vocal cords. And as performers, there's this expectation of, well, if I complain about this, and in some cases, they'll just not cast you in future stuff because you were being a pansy about it. But no, it is a very dangerous, difficult thing. So being receptive to reducing the hours in sessions that are vocally stressful, being respectful of actors who are trying their best but also have to be aware of their own health, and being able to limit that session so that they don't end up permanently damaging themselves and having to undergo surgery or lose entire ranges in their vocal range, which has happened to a number of people.
Generally, the longer you work, you'll start losing your upper register.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's very similar to, it's unfortunate that it gets looked at differently than the way that athletes want health and safety measures for their jobs. It's a very similar thing. We are doing literal vocal damage and stress to ourselves. So, I mean, personally, we feel like it's not a lot to ask to want a little bit of safety up front.
Or be able to know when one is coming up, because we never get scripts or we have no idea what we're
Ahead of
going in
time.
for, and you go at 9 in.the.morning screaming, and then you have to do a commercial right after that, and suddenly you can't work anymore. At least being able to say, okay, this we can do at the end of the day or end of the week. Yeah. So yeah, that's a good
a lot of
question.
things.
There's a lot of things to fix.
We're trying to fix it.
But it's great, and we love our jobs. That's the thing.
If it's a quick one, what time is it?
It is 2 minutes to.
No, we gotta go, baby.
So
We gotta go.
Well, if you want to stay, if you have to answer this.
I'll answer it.
That's off the record.
Enjoy your panel, guys.
Thanks,
Thanks,
buddy.
Ryan.
You got this.
Thank you, guys.
Take the center chair.
Thank you.
Oh yeah, of course.
Bye, have fun.
There we go.
But
Can we get a goodbye noon?
Thanks.
Goodbye, noon.
see you guys in a little bit. Thank you, guys.
Now we're just watching you.
Okay, so yeah, following up with what they answered. So would you say that would be one of the challenges that you faced during the production of Final Fantasy 15?
15 was great. No, that was Square was one of the best. Square is very mindful of voice actors' needs. They're really good. They go slowly, make sure the performance is crafted to what they want it to be. I really enjoy working with them, and my character happened to be a cool guy who just talks like this. So barely any. There were a couple of chapters of dialogue where it was yelled, but it was not bad. That was a really nice one to work on.
Okay.
These are mostly a lot of the. I guess the Western games, the shooters are the ones that you're really yelling for a very long time. I did Call of Duty, and that was pretty, it's crazy. You go a lot of screaming really fast without a break.
Okay.
Please.
Has voice acting changed the way that you appreciate animation or video games or things like that? Can you
I don't know if
do you
it's.
nitpick things a little bit different? Or-
Well, now now I'm at the point where I recognize my friends. It's not just these, growing up watching these, you associate the voice with just this character, but now I can associate them with real flesh and blood people and be like, oh, that's Matt, or that's Mercer, or JV Blanc, or someone like that, and you go, okay, cool, let's see what they're doing, or oh, I'm surprised with what they've pulled up with. So it's it's cool to follow people. That's really what's changed with me. I still love games and anime just as much as I always did. Yeah, please.
So outside of voice acting, what inspired you, Max Billman, and Robbie Damon to come up with the Lava Stream?
The stream, we just did it. We were having dinner with Adam Crosdell, who's Ignis, and we said, let's just stream this. We've never seen, Adam's never played the game, and we streamed it that night, and it caught like wildfire, I guess because the fact that it was unannounced was a surprise, so people were doing it on Twitter, and we didn't archive it, so everybody was like, we gotta see it before it goes away. So there was that urgency to it too, and we did that for a couple hours, had a great time, so we'll continue streaming, because it was a lot of fun. We had a real blast.
Do you have a dream?
That was a real surprise.
Actually, Erica Mendez said the same thing with her character, Deanne.
There you go. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's a real surprise for us all. All right, guys. Thank you for your time.
Not a
Yeah,
problem.
cheers.